Mid-Morning in the Cities, weekdays 10 a.m. until noon. The greatest hits of all time. Rewind 93.9 WYEC.
Rewind 93.9 WYEC, Mid-Morning in the Cities. I'm Sean Patrick, and it's time for our weekly visit with Quad City Times film critic Linda Cook. Linda, thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure, especially today.
Yeah, because we get a really, really good movie in Captain America Civil War, which takes the Marvel Universe in a divided direction.
Oh, and who can't relate to the, well, if you will, political stances that these characters take when it comes to the way that their group is going to be run. And I love the way they interacted. I love the way they argued. And we what I like about this screenplay, there's so much to like about this screenplay, is that we understand their differences. We don't take sides. We understand each individual's take on this perspective.
Well, and even the extra villain, or the villain that's in place in this movie, we're going to avoid spoilers here, but he has a strong motivation for why he does what he does.
Yes. And this is indicative of characters that have depth and sympathetic characters that we care about. And it takes a deft hand to write a screenplay and direct it, I might add, that has such a huge ensemble and yet has character development with each member of the Avengers. We understand how their losses, how their understanding, just how these characters have grown over the last few years. We've seen them now, some of them for many years on the big screen. But to have them all together like this, it's like the culmination of a great novel, really. So well written.
Quad City Times film critic Linda Cook, our guest today on Mid-Morning in the Cities. It's our weekly Mid-Morning at the Movies segment, and of course all of it presented by Curves Davenport. We'll continue this conversation after this. You're listening to Mid-Morning in the Cities on Rewind 93.9.
Rewind 93.9 WYEC. Mid-Morning in the Cities, weekdays 10 a.m. until noon. The greatest hits of all time. Rewind 93.9 WYEC.
Rewind 93.9 WYEC, Mid-Morning in the Cities. I'm Sean Patrick, and of course we're talking today with Quad City Times film critic Linda Cook for our weekly Mid-Morning at the Movies segment. And there's only one movie this week. It's Captain America Civil War. You can check out my review online now at quadcitydailynews.com, Linda's review online at the qctimes.com. But this is a really smart film, but it's also really funny, and that I hope is something that doesn't get lost in this, because especially when you're talking about Spider-Man, this young kid playing Spider-Man is incredible, and his relationship with Tony Stark, the very funny introduction, and the fact that they're just going to go ahead and just skip that origin story and just go right into him having adventures. I love that.
I did too. There's a movie called Zombieland that came out a few years ago, and I love the way the screenplay approaches the viewer. Just, okay, we know you understand zombies. We know you understand how they operate. We know you understand how to kill. Let's move on. I loved that, just because it respected me as a viewer. Again, this movie does the same thing. It respects your knowledge of the Marvel Universe. I loved it.
And the kid is so good. He really nails the tone of the kind of Peter Parker that I think comic book fans have been talking about for a while. But he's easily a relatable kid that I think anybody, comic book or otherwise, can relate to.
Right. You don't have to be a fan of the comics at all to enjoy this movie. I would recommend that you see some of the other ones first. There are nods to past situations, past relationships, and past characters in this movie. But even if you don't know those, you'll still get a kick out of this action-packed film.
Yeah, it's funny, it's exciting, and it's smart.
It's one of the best movies of the year so far, hands down. And I think that because of its wide appeal to just about every demographic I can think of, this is going to be an absolute blockbuster at the box office.
No doubt about it. It's going to gross over $200 million this weekend.
No argument there. No argument there. I think it's going to give Star Wars a run for its money. Literally.
We're talking with Quad City Times film critic Linda Cook, our weekly Mid-Morning at the Movies segment. Of course, all of it presented by Curves Davenport. We'll continue this conversation and wrap things up next. Mid-Morning in the Cities on Rewind 93.9.
The 50s and 60s Cafe, weekdays from noon until 1 on your Quad City's greatest hit station. Rewind 93.9 WYEC. Mid-Morning in the Cities, weekdays 10 a.m. until noon. The greatest hits of all time. Rewind 93.9 WYEC.
Rewind 93.9 WYEC, Mid-Morning in the Cities, and it's our weekly Mid-Morning at the Movies. We're talking Captain America Civil War with Linda Cook. In the end, where did you come down? Did you come down as an Iron Man or a Captain America?
I understood them both. I really did. Now, I have to say, Captain America is my favorite superhero of this franchise. I love the way he's tormented by a past that he can no longer connect with. And he loses even more of that past this time around in this segment because obviously this, Marvel has an incredible money-making machine on its hands. But not only that, it's a kind of entertainment that isn't going to go away very soon. And I for one, am for more of these movies. So Cappy is my favorite, definitely.
Did you ever imagine when you saw Chris Evans in, Not Another Teen Movie or Perfect Score, did you ever imagine it could be any good?
No. And I remember, in particular, another superhero movie I believe he was in. Am I correct, if I'm remembering right?
Oh, Fantastic Four, yeah.
I didn't even want to utter those words because it's kind of blasphemous to talk about that movie in the same breath as this one. But I remember thinking, man, these guys just really don't have it going on. And then to find out he plays my favorite character, and this character is my favorite partly because he's played by him. I still can't believe the transitions he's made, but by golly, he has earned my applause.
He's great as Captain America, and he's been good, I guess, recently in other movies, like Snowpiercer is a smaller film that not a lot of people have seen that he's quite good in.
Yeah, I liked him in that, too. I really did.
I don't know if there's going to be much for him, though, outside of Captain America.
Does he need to do anything else? He can do this for the next 20 years or 30. And, not only does he have a career, but he could own half the world.
Well, Linda Cook from the Quad City Times, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Sean.
You've been listening to Mid-Morning in the Cities on Rewind 93.9, presented by Curves Davenport.
The 50s and 60s Cafe, weekdays from noon until 1 on your Quad City's greatest hit station. Rewind 93.9 WYEC.